Hey Salesforce Hubs, this is Shruthi MN here. Before we begin, a small note from my side. Sorry for the delay in uploading this video. I wasn't feeling well over the last few days and I had to wrap up today's session on priority. Before I could sit down and record this properly, thank you for your patience and understanding. I genuinely appreciate it. Now, coming to the session. For those of you who are new here, my name is Shruthi MN and I bring a combined 5.5 plus years of Salesforce experience, 2.8 years working as a assistant project manager and 1.9 years focused deeply on automation, execution flow and architectural clarity, and 9 months as a YouTuber, mentor and coach, working closely with learners, interview aspirants, admins, developers and career switchers. This last phase, coaching and content creation, has been especially important to me because it helped me to understand where learners actually struggle, not just where documentation ends. And let me say this clearly upfront. Salesforce is not difficult because of features. Salesforce is difficult because of execution misunderstanding. Most people fail interviews, projects or confidence checks not because they do not know what to use, but because they do not understand when, why and how the platform executes. That's exactly why this channel, these sessions and today's discussion exists. Before I begin, as a Salesforce admin, you have your priorities, that is to attend interviews, and I want you to enroll to my courses, which is available for 750 rupees as live sessions, which includes a curriculum, that is assignments, and you'll be part of a community group where you can understand the logistics. That is, if you are part of this curriculum, you can clear the interviews, but I wouldn't guarantee any placement, because if I refer your profile to a company, I should be part of the company and I should host the sessions based on the feedback which I receive. And I feel that by hosting the sessions based on the feedback which I receive will not help you to grow in your career, especially the certificate which I provide at the end of the course should help you to grow in your career. And I offer self-paced courses, that is admin, developer and advanced developer courses for rupees 500, and I want you to enroll to these courses so that you can make the best use of the Agentforce basics, and I cover the integral part of the identity. And now I want you to focus on the feedback which I provide at the end of the session if you're part of this curriculum, that is the feedback which I received from the subscribers, and I want you to focus on this video as a reference, and I want you to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and comment subscribe if you have subscribed to my channel, and provide a feedback if you want me to improve on my basics or the quality of the video, for example, and help the audience to understand the challenges that a YouTuber faces during the upload of the video. When it comes to the data model and intelligence, the lookup relationship is important and required. Choose master detail relationship only when the ownership dependency is intentional. So welcome to today's podcast and the series which I am uploading for clearing the interviews at Capgemini. Avoid cascade delete risk in enterprise org. This is part of the curriculum where you have to use the lookup relationship, and data model decisions are irreversible at scale. So I designed for future governance, not immediate convenience. So if you provide this as a circumference, that is when you're answering a question in the interview, then you will be able to clear the interview and the basics, and you will be able to learn the basics based on the questionnaire which they provide during the interview. Now when it comes to the OWD settings, and if you want to define the baseline for the interviews or the role or extend the rules to provide the visibility as a vertical, that is Sales and Service Cloud is part of this curriculum, and thanks to Arundhati Bhattacharya for helping us to understand that the MVPs who are part of this curriculum, that is Dreamforce or the events which are quoted, especially trailhead modules which you have to cover as quests, are part of this curriculum, is to so that you can understand that the sharing rules extend visibility. And based on the feedback which Salesforce has received, and I read few posts related to the events which were hosted in the past few months, I realized that sharing rules are part of this curriculum because Salesforce is error friendly and has orgs it removes the error, and it is user friendly because it is part of this horizon, that is horizon, that is if we share the rules and if we are able to handle the exceptions, then you have to use Apex without sharing in the code. Now let's head towards a scenario where we can answer the OWD settings questions. Why can a user see a record even when OWD is private? So when you answer this question, you should first answer with the first half of the question with the example, that is when you share a record. For example, when you want to share account record with opportunity, then you have to share the rules based on the role hierarchy and not the implicit access. But if you grant the implicit access, then you have to perform the role hierarchy as a sharing rule and not as a individual itinerary. That is, if you select the role and if you're not able to share the rules, then you wouldn't be able to see the changes in the org. Now let's head towards the next half of the session, where admins are expected to control automation sprawl. So when it comes to automation sprawl, we have to prefer tools which are before save flows, validation rules, and after save flows. So when it comes to after save flows, we can use cross object logic. That is, if you are using flows, you have to avoid saying this line, that is, I use workflow rules. Instead of that, you have to say Salesforce has strategically depreciated workflows in favor of flow. So when it comes to depreciated workflows, I want you to understand that the after save flows can help you to block the logic in by using validation rules. But if you save the flows, then you should be able to understand that when you use the depreciated flows, you should be able to understand the logic behind the execution of the flow. Now let's head towards the order of execution, and you should understand that when you know the placement of the order of execution, you'll be able to understand that the system checks are your first category of order of execution methods. Second, it's before save flow. Third, it is validation rules. Fourth, it is after save flows. Fifth, it is assignment and auto respond rules. Now blocking the logic before save and side effects is after save. So now you should understand the curriculum. That is, if you are part of this session, then you want to grow in your life. So when it comes to system checks, you can use permission sets as your first degree of conversion. That is, there are degrees of conversion. First you have to convert or lead into opportunity, and then you have to convert opportunity into order, and then order can be placed as a contract. Okay, so this is the order of execution example which you can quote when you are providing the order of execution as an answer to in the interviews. Okay, I hope I was able to explain the concepts to you. Now I want you understand the logic behind the flows and the reference. That is, if you are creating a flow, for example, if you are creating a flow and if you feel that A and B, those are the objects, you can refer A as account and B as opportunity and C as contact. Okay, now ABC is a flow which you have to design. The logic is when account gets updated, contact record should get created in the opportunity object. Okay, so now, and the opportunity object should get converted to lead only if the update is specific. That is, if you update the rating of the if you update the industry in the account, then this flow should get executed. Now, when we are explaining this scenario, you should understand that and this is something which you face in the interviews, and I'll explain the reason why I focus on execution clarity. Over the years, I've seen a pattern. People say I know flows, but my automation behaves unpredictably. I know triggers, but interviews confuse me. I have built things, but I can't explain them confidently. That's not a knowledge gap, it is an execution gap. Salesforce interviews, especially at companies like Capgemini, TCS, Cognizant, Infosys, do not test whether you clicked buttons. They test, do you understand order of execution? Do you know the know before versus after responsibilities? Can you explain admin versus developer boundaries? Can you reason through why something failed, not just how to fix it? And that's the mindset I want you to build here. About today's session and content. Today's session was wrapped up on priority because I wanted to make sure quality wasn't compromised, even if my time was tight. This video and the upcoming ones are structured around admin fundamentals that interviews actually care about: automation discipline using flow, Agentforce, Prompt Builder, execution aware thinking, not shortcuts, and most importantly, how to explain your decisions. If you're preparing for interviews, remember this: interviewers are not looking for perfect answers, they are looking for structured thinking. If you can clearly explain what runs first, that is, when we execute the flow, we should understand that if A and B are part of this order of execution, that means account and opportunities are created, and when we update the flow gets recursive, and we have to add an assignment operator. So what depends on what is the second half of the flow execution of the flow. That means a contact has been created, and where the responsibility should live, you are already ahead of most candidates. That means if you update the flow, you will be able to understand the logic behind the creation of contact or updation of a contact record. About Agentforce and Prompt Builder and modern Salesforce. A lot of learners ask me, is Agentforce only for developers? Is Prompt Builder just AI fluff? The answer is no, but only if you understand the platform intent. Admins must understand when prompts fire, how flows are triggered, how permissions, validation rules, and execution order interact. Developers must understand how automation layers stack, how not to over-engineer, how to protect bulk execution and limits. When these boundaries blur, systems break, and when these boundaries are respected, systems scale. That's the difference between a learner and a professional. About my courses, many of you attending these sessions or watching these videos already know this, but I want to say it transparently. I offer admin developer and advanced developer courses available as live sessions for Rs 750 and self-paced for Rs 500. Each course is individual and focused, not mixed or rushed. There is no placement guarantee, and I say that intentionally, because what I do guarantee is execution clarity, interview readiness, and honest guidance based on real-world expectations. The outcomes depend on your effort, consistency, and practice, and I'll support you with structured reviews and weekly checkpoints. Now, let's head towards the next half of the session, where I will discuss the admin interview questions, which you have to answer when you are attending interviews at Capgemini. What defines a good Salesforce admin in an enterprise org? When it comes to the governance and the execution awareness, you should understand that the Salesforce admin can provide guidance related to the governance or the governor limits, and the governor limits can be, or the governor limit can be part of this execution based on the execution awareness. That is, the order of execution should be in place with the concepts. And if you're explaining a concept related to the enterprise org or the enterprise edition, then you have to ask few questions related to the governance before you governance of the execution before you answer the questions. Like, if you want to answer the question that is if governor limit executed prior to the execution of order, for example, then you have to understand the logic behind order of execution, where if you convert opportunity to an order, then you have to follow the steps before you execute the operation. That is, you have to create the opportunity, then you have to add the order as a relationship with opportunity, and I choose master detail relationship, and then you have to place the order based on the execution process. Why are before save flows most efficient? Before save flows are most efficient because no database commit is required, and you have to understand the logic behind before save flows. The reason behind before save flows which are most efficient is, and I'll explain this by opening my now before save flows. Okay. Now when we see this before and after save flows versus after save flows, we can understand that the support with the logic is a limitation in the process builder. So flows can be used for better performance, and process builder is used for slow execution. And I want you to understand that the pictures which I am trying to execute is part of this curriculum, and I'm hosting this session as a questionnaire, so that you understand that if you want to work in Salesforce, you should understand the logic behind the execution of the flow. And the pictures which I am displaying is part of this curriculum. And I want to thank Salesforce for helping me to understand that the flow and the process builder are part of the execution and not as a support. Okay. When do you avoid master detail relationship? Data loss and ownership rigidity. When we use a curriculum that is to exhibit the data ownership or the data loss in the ownership or the authority, then we have to understand that the user can be added only if the account record is created. How do you troubleshoot a fail safe? Fail safe can be executed using validation rule, flow and permissions, and if we are able to execute the flow based on the validation rule which we receive or the permissions that we have to add during the execution, then you have to understand that the failed record or the record which you were not able to save should be part of the permission and not as a validation in the flow. How do you prevent automation conflicts? When I'm explaining, I want you to make a note of these points because I'm explaining the concepts, but you have to conduct a research before you attend this interview. How do you prevent automation conflicts? Consolidation and documentation. So by consolidating the documentation and avoiding the conflicts by adding a validation rule can help you to perform the updates without receiving a negative feedback from the client. Difference between rule hierarchy and sharing rules. Now when we have to explain the difference between role hierarchy and sharing rules, we should understand that the vertical versus horizontal axis are part of this curriculum. That means if you add a group, then you can share the rules in the sharing settings, or role hierarchy can be part of this curriculum only if the horizontal axis is part of this vertical. That is, Sales and Service Cloud, which is part of Agentforce, can execute this horizon by just performing the updates. What happens if two flows update the same field? If you update the two flows in the same field, then the last execution wins as part of the risk of recursion. So that means if the record gets saved after the flow is executed or two flows are executed, then the automation can be part of this curriculum only if the recursion is in place with the page refresh methodology. Why is this documentation critical for admins? Audit, continuity and scalability. So when we speak about the documentation of flow, then the audit trails and the order of execution should be followed to prevent hitting the governor limits. But when we speak about flows, we have to understand that the flows can be created and it can be part of the admin curriculum only if we audit the trail. So I want you to enroll to the admin course, which is for ₹750. Those are the live sessions, and you can continue the course as a developer and as an admin, which is available for ₹750 again. And the three courses are individual courses which you can purchase at ₹750 for each course, and you can provide the feedback on LinkedIn as an endorsement. Now when you provide the feedback as an endorsement, you have to follow a procedure, that is to attend the sessions and participate in the activities in the group, and then you have to provide your references to me. And the group is part of this curriculum just to encourage you to focus on the interview preparation. How do you test automation safety? Sandbox plus sample data. So when we speak about the automation safety, we have to understand that the sandbox and the sample data is part of this curriculum, and if you want to enhance your proficiency, you have to understand that the sandbox can be refreshed after we upload the data using data loader or Salesforce inspector. And if we have to add the data, we have to format the file and then upload the data. Why shouldn't admins deploy directly to production? Risk of breaking dependencies. So when we speak about the risks and the dependencies, the next half of the session, that is which I want to host. I'll host it as a second half of this curriculum tomorrow or the next week, because I upload videos on Mondays, full length videos on Mondays, and if related to the podcast. So if you want me to focus on the same curriculum, I want you to provide the feedback. That is, if you want the podcast to be hosted on you want to receive a notification related to the podcast on Monday at 8:15 a.m. I want you to provide a feedback as a comment and even on LinkedIn, so that the students who want to be part of my coaching center can read the feedback and then enroll if they to the courses if they feel that the course is valuable, and if they want to clear any interviews, they can refer to the post which I create. Now, coming to the risk of breaking dependencies, you have to understand that admin shouldn't deploy directly. Should deploy the code based on the test classes, and if you are able to hard code the test classes and then execute, then that means you are providing a substantial evidence. That is, if we want the narrations to be quoted as data manipulation or DML statements, then we can't execute these test cases. So don't convert the deployment process based on the risk factors. Those are the governor limits and using the for loop in using the SOQL queries during the execution of test classes. And I want my viewers to know that I've received a feedback related to the recent video, and I want to thank, that is related to the interview at Capgemini. I want you to refer to this feedback on my Twitter account and my LinkedIn Twitter account, and if you want to follow my sessions on LinkedIn, LinkedIn, Instagram, and if you want to be part of my coaching center, you can enroll to the courses, and the courses will start from next week. So my number is 80500330007, and I offer career counseling as well for rupees 1999. If you want to enroll to both the curriculums, I can offer a discount. That is, if you are part of the counseling session, I can reduce the price to 700 rupees. If for each course, if you are able to enroll for the career counseling session as well as the courses. Okay, so I want you to understand about the feedback which I want you to provide about the feedback growth and this channel. If you attend today's session or watch this video, please do 3 things. It genuinely helps. Leave a comment with your takeaway or question. Like and share if the explanation helped you. Subscribe to Codeforce Chronicles, not for numbers, but because this channel is built to stay signal over noise. Your feedback, whether it's about content clarity, video quality, pace or depth, helps me refine what I put out next. And yes, feedback may also shape future videos and sessions, always respecting learner privacy. If you have been confused, stuck or overwhelmed with Salesforce, you are not behind. You just need better execution understanding, clearer mental models, and fewer shortcuts. And that's exactly what we will keep building here, step by step. Thank you for your time, your patience and your trust. This is Shruthi MN from Codeforce Chronicles, one standard thoughtful Salesforce learning. Thank you.